come true.
I mean the bare necessities of Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities. That's right, wherever I wander, wherever I go,
She doesn't scare you,
my
don't even think we'll.
The bare necessities of life will come to
Which pizza place is the finest in Paris? Which best possess the longest pedigree? Which begs get to sleep on velvet mats? Naturellement, the aristocrats.
20 money nights, 22. You left out away my makeup. Wouldn't you take my collections from Prada? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who has like Spider-Man?
Be our guest, be our guest. Don't service to business. Tie your napkin round your neck, chérie, and we'll provide the rest.
Tell us
So
all
toujours, why we only live me so. Right and great stuff, it's delicious. Don't believe me? That's delicious.
The Little Mermaid, the Lion King.
It's a problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata.
Can you feel the love
Tonight, Singonia.
It is where we are.
Find our place. On the path that winds
What the blue for the
the circle of out there, living in the sorrow.
Back when the world was new, the planet Earth was down on its luck. And everywhere gigantic roots helped items live amok. It was a
I
nasty
will
place.
find my way. I can go with the deer
Where it rained and earthquakes and volcanoes snapped. And then he went from zero to hero in no time flat. Zero to hero, just like that. Bow.
You must be swift as a coursing
Be a
river,
man.
with all the force of a great typhoon,
Be a man.
with all the strength of a raging fire.
Mysterious as the dark side of the moon. Son of man, to the sky, lift your spirit, set it free. Someday you won't soar with pride. Son of man, a man in time you'll be.
You'll be in my heart. Yes, you'll be in my heart. From this day on, now and forevermore.
More. So I read a book, or maybe two or three. I'll add a few new paintings to my gallery. I'll play guitar and eat. Basically, just wonder when will my life begin. Get you where you wanna go, if you know what I mean. Let it go, let it go. Can you handle the curves? Can you run all the lights? Let it go, let it go. And let the storm rage on. The cold never bothered me anymore.
It's a small world after
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test, to train them is my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Each Pokemon to
Da-da! That was the grand entrance.
Oh, we're here.
Yeah. That
Oh,
was
we're keeping the same names from last week. I see.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. We didn't really have time. I
That's
apologize, everyone who happens to be watching, if there is anyone watching. Hello, everyone in the chat. For everyone that's there. But I got locked out of my car earlier today, which led to me not getting here when I was supposed to, and then things got crazy. And then we had to get a lot done. Anyway, welcome to the Pop Cultured Podcast. We are back again for another week. I'm joined, of course, by my friends Joe.
Yeah, I'm on camera.
Yeah, and Noah.
Yeah, he's a porg.
Yeah, he is, but not speaking,
He's
which is a
also
concern.
muted.
Oh, he's muted. All right, that's what's going on. All right, Noah's muted. He's joining us remotely again today.
I am. Sorry, I had to untwist my cables.
Oh, you're fine.
Oh, is that what we're calling it these days? Gross.
You're gross.
Winku. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm joined by Noah remotely and Joe here, and of course, Scritches, the pop culture kitten, down the corner.
As always.
We've got a
Yes.
kitten and we've got a porg.
Perhaps
Make
one
them
day. Every so often, you know, Scritches has like a hairball problem or something, and he has to leave, and we have to invite someone to
bring
fill the
in a
space,
guest.
and that's just
Yeah.
a hassle. So
Yeah.
we're once again joined with Scritches. Anyway,
Always good to have Scritches here.
it is. He's
really
so
the,
cute.
Cornerstone that keeps us all together.
He is the glue, yes.
He's
a
the glue.
He's a fluffy little kitten. He's so cute.
Anyways,
We're here again to talk about more news and stuff and things. So I
Woo.
suppose
Yeah.
we might as well get started talking about pop culture stuff for the week. So we got
Yeah.
some news, we got some discussion. Let's hop into it. What do you guys want to talk about first?
I think
know
Joe
what I wanna talk-
really wants to talk about
I
that top
really want to talk about what happened 2 days ago.
2
in
days
World of
ago.
Warcraft.
All right, let's start there.
So they had a big Q&A for Battle for Azeroth that was announced a week prior. Like, hey, maybe not a week, a few days prior. Like, hey, we're having a big Q&A for our next expansion.
Uh-huh.
Come talk to us about it. But before the Q&A happened, they snuck in their pre-purchases for it. And if you pre-purchase, you can now go get the allied races. Some of them. So they added a little bit of content so you can start leveling those characters up before you get to Battle for Azeroth.
Got you. You know, I actually heard that they were having some trouble with that, though.
Well, they had some trouble because everyone was like, oh my gosh, they've released pre-purchase. I have to buy it now to get the allied races. And it basically just crashed their system. They were having trouble because everyone was so excited and everyone was going into it.
Everyone
that's-
was just
it's a good
so
problem to
damn hype that it was messing everything up.
So yeah, in the
Yep.
game now, Alliance can go through their quests and unlock Lightforged Draenei and Void Elves to start playing immediately at level 20.
And which are those aligned with? For anyone who doesn't know what
Those are for the Alliance.
All right.
For
Alliance
the
is-
Alliance.
And the Horde can
For the
get
Horde.
the High Mountain Tauren and the Nightborn Elves. And these are all people, like these are all races we've interacted with throughout Legion, so it makes sense to introduce them now leading into Battle for Azeroth.
Mm.
And I think it's really cool they're adding all this content like months ahead. But
Right,
the
right.
big news, the even bigger news, somehow there's still bigger news. We have this big reveal and there's still more. Release date was kind of announced. Not like it's coming out this day, but they say it'll be out by the end of summer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
When did Legion come out?
I want to say Legion came out about the same time. It was well, let me look.
Well, at the end of summer, sure, but like how long ago was it since they dropped
That was
Legion?
about, the end of this summer it'll been 2 years. So it like
Oh, okay.
It works.
That
Yeah.
that's their usual turnaround time for
Yeah,
expansions, right?
Every other year is usually the next expansion.
Yeah.
Because that's usually when they're done telling the story. But like, I'm just a bit concerned because now we're going to be stuck with Entourus for the next 4-5 months.
Stuck with what now?
The raid, unless they plan on adding another raid,
Oh, got
like
you.
a little mini thing to kind of
Yeah.
transition us into the new thing.
Now, it is worth saying for anyone who happens to be watching and is not familiar with World of Warcraft, basically, you have two factions, the Horde and the Alliance, and for several years they fought against each other, but then in recent expansions of World of Warcraft, they were forced
Well,
in a
they've
certain measure to work
always
together.
Teamed up. They've always teamed up in some measure during the final bosses. Like they teamed up in a little bit in Burning Crusade, not really. They were still fighting against each other, but they ultimately defeated Illidan. They teamed up in Wrath of the Lich King to defeat the Lich King, then immediately split apart to fight each other over everything in Cataclysm. Then teamed up again to beat Deathwing at the end of Cataclysm. Then they started fighting over Pandaria. Then we all teamed up to fight Garrosh Hellscream. Then we split apart again in Lords of No, I guess Warlords was pretty much, we were unified then. So we've been unified for the last couple expansions, but there's always been like skirmishes and fights breaking out in different places. But this is the first time in a while that it's been all out war against each other.
You know what's hilarious to me? Just a minor thing. Whenever I was watching the reveal trailer for Battle for Azeroth, and it's like the Alliance is attacking the fortress, and the walls coming
Lordaeron,
down,
the
and
city of Lordaeron,
thank you, the city of
the
Lordaeron,
undead capital.
and like everything's looking bleak for the Horde, and like Sylvanas has taken a tumble, and there's siege towers everywhere, and then she just like banshee screams, and then like shit goes crazy, and she's just like, "For the Horde!" And the entire audience was just like, "Hell yes, for the Horde!" And then at the end, after things have turned, like Varian's son is holding up the sword, and he
Edwin
does,
like resurrects his army
yeah, and he's
because
just
they'd all
like,
fall in, and he mass heals them all.
"For the Alliance!" And then there's just like some like general applause for the Alliance.
Oh, in the audience, yeah. From the audience, it was like, yeah.
Because it's
In
just,
the
I don't
moment,
know.
though, like it's good. It's good.
It's just for the Horde. There's just something very visceral
It's so
about
much
shouting
better. It's just
for the
so,
Horde.
'cause it kinda-
For the Alliance.
well, here, like for the Horde, like it has that like kind of half rhyme.
It has the.
So, it,
oh
like-
yeah.
Yeah,
what you
it's like for the Horde, and it's just a good yell.
Sorry.
I actually also need to go adjust some lighting. in
Yeah, I
there.
know. I'm making lighting adjustments
I'll
on the
finish.
fly. But yeah,
I just
no.
forgot.
It's
Yeah, it's super.
You're
exciting
right.
that
It's
they
just
added
it's
this.
so satisfying to shout for the Horde. I love it.
I mean, it's just satisfying to shout.
Yeah, in general, it's satisfying to shout, but
Like
particularly
even if
for
you're
the
shouting
Horde.
like for the Alliance, it's good too. It's just not as good.
Yeah, it just feels like
Like
there's
that
more
much
going
worse.
on.
Like that much worse.
Yeah.
But definitely worse.
But yeah, Battle for Azeroth.
That
They
being
released a whole
said-
bunch of new races.
That being said, though, sorry, just slight backtrack.
Mhm.
One of my favorite lines ever used in World of Warcraft and how it was used was for the Alliance. It was when,
Oh, wasn't that
Varian
like
Wrynn-
wasn't that Varian Wryn's last
Varian Wrynn-
words?
and it was his last words because he was fighting Gul'dan, and
Yeah.
he's like, "How does it feel knowing you'll be the king who died for nothing?" And Varian's last words are just for the Alliance.
That
And then
is
he gets
legit.
melted. Yeah, so I cried. I'm gonna be real. I teared up a little.
As you should. That's a
I
tearing
made
up
I
moment.
made Horde, and I'm still just like, man.
Look, if you're a
We're way
badass,
better
you're a
than-
badass.
We're
It
not
doesn't
way
matter.
better than Vol'jin. Vol'jin's like, I'm dying on the throne. Sylvanas, I'ma make you war chief, even though I never trusted you.
That would be hilarious if those were
That's
actually
literally
his
how
words.
it went. That's literally how he's
But
like
did he
dying
actually say
on
it
the
exactly like that? Because that would be
He
funny.
didn't say it exactly. He was like, Sylvanas, I never trusted you. But now, after seeing your bravery, the spirits be telling me one name. And it's like,
That is so
that's actually, he
unnecessarily
literally
hilarious.
said, in his dying monologue, he says, I never trusted you.
For the record, I never trusted you, but
Saying Starfang needs to be war chief because he's the one man who doesn't want it.
I mean, yeah, those are generally the people you want in charge. The people who you know
the people
won't like abuse the power because they
like,
don't covet it.
Yeah. And everyone's like, oh, but Starfang's so old. He's so old. It's like, yeah, but he's an old orc warrior. How many of those you see around?
But I mean, I feel like Sylvanas
bad.
is generally doing a pretty good job.
So far. We'll see.
So far. Why you hating on my girl Sylvanas?
I don't trust her. Everything she does has an ulterior motive.
Well,
Her
yeah.
Her people, she doesn't treat her people as a people. It's not like, oh, these are my people. I care about them. It's like, no, they're my shield from not dying.
Well, to be
She
fair,
fears
she's
death.
tried dying once and she didn't care for it.
She fears her final death so much. She's like initially her people were just her spear, her arrow to fire at the Lich King. And once he's defeated and she realizes that death is not a great place for her, her afterlife is not good. She's like, they're my bulwark against the infinite.
So either way,
But every Forsaken person's like, yeah, Sylvanas. Every Forsaken player is like, I love her. She's the best. It's like, you realize she doesn't care about you. You are
that's
a
not the
tool.
point. She's
You're a means to an end.
She's a Banff, and that's what's important, Joe. Stop hating on Sylvanas Windrunner.
Yeah, well, so's her sister.
Yeah, and
Both
look,
of 'em.
she almost destroyed the Sunwell.
She did almost
With
destroy the
void
sun, though.
energies.
Spoilers for the Nightborn quest line to get them to join the Horde. Illyria almost destroys the Sunwell.
Anyway.
Unintentionally, but all the same. Or was it?
Or was it?
Anyway.
So what else we got?
Anyways.
Hey, Nintendo announced Mario Kart Tour, which is a new app that they're working on.
What do we know about that?
That it's another in a long
Literally,
line of Nintendo
that it
apps.
exists. And isn't that ridiculous? I know
It
that
does
I'm...
exist or it doesn't exist? It doesn't exist.
that it
yet.
exists. It will at some point exist. Here's the thing.
Okay.
Like, I get that this is hypocritical because I'm talking about it right now. But I do think it's a ridiculous trend whenever people are like, hey, did you hear about this thing that got announced? And that's literally all the information. It's like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
that's
you mean
nothing.
the thing we're doing at this moment.
Like, yeah, all right, sure. Yeah, they announced that it was occurring. How did you make an
Well, it's
entire
like-
article about? I literally saw at least 5 different websites reporting on this story. And I'm just like, but it's not a story though. It's an announcement.
It's not a story. Yeah, it's an announcement.
And then they like pad it out by talking about all the other apps that Nintendo has worked on. We're just like,
Yeah, like it's
remember,
literally like Nintendo has also released. Well, speaking of-
remember
we can
Fire
talk about
Emblem
that.
Heroes? Remember Pokemon
Yeah.
Go?
Pokemon Go wasn't even like
Animal Crossing,
Animal Crossing Pocket Camp,
Oh yeah.
Super Mario Run.
Mario Run, yeah.
Like those are all decent games
Yeah. Well,
for
and
mobile games.
the other thing too is this just leads me into one of the things that I wanted to talk about and ask about in our discussion topics, which is whenever like they port popular series into apps like they did with Fire Emblem Heroes or with Mario or anything like that. Like, what do you guys think about that whenever that happens? Like popular games as apps. Because just as generally, to get the conversation started, I kind of think that it's all right to people who maybe, like, don't know a lot. Like, Pokemon Go. There are people who still play Pokemon Go who have, like, never played a Pokemon
yeah.
game in their life. My sister
Oh,
still
yeah.
plays Pokemon Go. She, like, goes out walking in parks and catches Pokemon. Like, she has no
I mean,
idea
it's
what's actually
fun.
going on in Pokemon.
It's a good way to like get out and do something and have something to do while you're out, not just walking.
Yeah. But then again, with other games, like like with the Mario app, right? Like it's really fun at first, but then after you beat all the levels, it's just kind of like, all right.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing though. Like that's, in a way, that's every Mario game. After you beat the levels, it's like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
but
Like I feel like they really capture the essence. Like Nintendo specifically has done really well overall with their like mobile games, because they all like capture the feeling of those actual games and like put it in a mobile experience that isn't like a full game. It's not trying to be like, oh, we're porting Fire Emblem Awakening to mobile. It's no, we made Fire Emblem Heroes, which is a crappy gotcha game at the end of the day, but it's Fire Emblem. Like you get to play
Right.
little tiny Fire Emblem with your gotcha game.
I mean, I guess it's just the thing is like, I guess with apps, you know, there's no real story most of the time, right?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, yeah, it's good for stuff like Animal Crossing. That it just it's kind of like an indefinite. There's no real story. Just like you just kind of manage and stuff like that, because that's what most apps are, right? They're just like management games where you're just
There
like
is
taking
a story
care of stuff.
to there is a story to Fire Emblem here.
Is there?
Yeah,
Is
they
it
have like a
good?
full story mode you can play. I didn't beat it. I kind of uninstalled. Like
You-
I had fun with
you
the game, but it wasn't a
uninstalled
game I
it?
was gonna like. Yeah, my phone doesn't have a lot of space.
Fair enough.
I could get it on my tablet and actually play it then. Then I'd be like, oh man, look at me, I'm playing Fire Emblem. I could just as easily like, oh look at me, I'm playing good Fire Emblem.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, do you remember
Or,
Lara
oh, look at
Croft
me,
and the
I'm playing
Guardian of
Fire
Light?
Emblem Warriors. Which one?
Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light.
Yeah, that was bad.
Right? Like, I played through the whole thing. I
That-
did.
That wasn't good.
But I was just like, it's like whenever they made Tomb Raider Underworld for the DS. It was like, it was just a worse version of Tomb Raider Underworld. And that's how I felt about all of Guardian of Light. I'm just, this is like a worse version of actual Tomb Raider. Or I also remember that they made a Rayman game. For the iPhone. And they also made one for the movie Avatar, which actually wasn't terrible. It actually had like an overworld and a hub world and all this other stuff going on. It was actually really well made. It was just such a drain on your phone. But the Rayman one wasn't great. So
Yeah,
it
like, I don't know.
I just
When
think it's interesting.
done well, it works. When
Mhm.
it's done poorly, it really doesn't.
Yeah, because it's just one of those things like, do you try to make it like the actual game but on your phone, or do you just try to like look at phone apps that already exist and you're like,
Yeah, it
how
goes-
do we
yeah.
fit this into that?
Like the Final Fantasy 15 one, that's literally just like Clash of Clans.
Right.
Like you have to, like, it comes down to if you try to capture the essence of the game, and you make an enjoyable experience you can do on mobile.
Mm-hmm.
Good. That's good. But when you're just like trying to monetize on other crappy mobile games, being like, oh, we'll make our own crappy version of it, but we'll slap Final Fantasy 15 on it.
Right.
That's not so good. I say that still sitting like, oh, Fire Emblem Heroes was really great when crappy gotcha game. It's literally just like, oh, pay money. Oh, I get random heroes. I don't even get to pick. Oh, sweet! I can't wait to build my ideal team of all my favorite Fire Emblem heroes.
You know what that reminds me of? Loot boxes.
It literally
Wow,
is.
Janky went for the stretch of a segue this time.
Yo, yeah,
That's not
it
even a
was
stretch. That is exactly
That
what's
was good.
happening with Battlefront 2.
Yeah, they're bringing them back. They haven't announced when. They've just announced in the next few months. We're hoping to
I
re-implement
don't
them.
want to hear you give me shit for my segues in the next and future pop culture podcasts after that segue.
No, here's the difference.
Oh, I'll
though.
give
He
you
doesn't
crap
call
anyway.
them out. You call them out.
Yeah, you just like straight up, you're just like, And now here's the next story. And I'm like, all right, but you don't have to make a show of it whenever we go to the next. You're just like, oh, you know what that reminds me of? And then you just like
And
read the
segue.
title
But
of
that's
the article.
literally what you did. That's literally what you just
Yeah,
did.
but
No,
it
I
was
said,
about- no.
you know what that reminds me of? Loot boxes, which is legit. Like, I know I made a
Yeah.
show of it, but still.
Like the game literally was loot boxes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyways,
thanks, Will.
so Battlefront 2 to loot box.
Yeah.
Battlefront
Two
Battle
Battlefront,
box.
2 loot box.
loot box.
Anyway, so you
Revenge of
guys,
the loot.
yeah,
Much like the Empire, loot boxes are striking back.
I'm sure that you guys in the chat probably remember this or heard about it or whatever. Especially if you follow any gamers whatsoever on Twitter or YouTube or anything.
Or
But
ever watched any episode of this podcast. I think we've talked about
Yeah.
it every single time.
yes, it's
Pretty
true.
much.
Hopefully someday we can stop.
One day.
But EA, of course, made Battlefront 2, and they had loot boxes in the game, which basically gave you cards that broke the game, basically.
Made you better.
Yeah, they made you better, but it was like you
bought
literally paid to get better at this game. So because of a whole bunch of public outcry and whatever, they removed the loot boxes from the game. They removed I shouldn't say that. They removed the premium currency from the game, so you couldn't just buy loot boxes.
You could not buy loot boxes.
But they were still in the game. It was just
Well, they also changed the way the loot boxes worked, and it was less. They sort of got it in a place where it's like you're not just buying power. You can't buy power because you can't buy loot boxes.
right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think even the loot boxes got nerfed. Like they just
Yep.
they were less powerful anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah, but like you had to open loot boxes to get the scrap to give you better cards anyway.
Yeah,
the point
yeah,
is,
yeah, yeah. No, you
whatever
still
the
did,
case may
but-
be, the card system in and of itself was terrible, and then they layered loot boxes on top of it, which just made it worse. But anyway, the
Yep.
point is, in lieu of the fact that they did not make a lot of money on that game because of so much crap going on around it, they're bringing back
Well,
premium
wait, 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 wait.
currency.
Say they didn't make a lot of money. They made money.
Oh no,
They
no,
sold
they
9 million units.
right, but it wasn't
Yeah,
as much
that
as
was
they
less than
intended
the rest-
to make.
Yeah, their conservative estimate was 10 million.
Which is not as much as they intended to make. Like, I don't know if that's breaking even or not, because I don't know how much it took to produce that game.
Not
But-
much when it's built on the same engine as the last one.
No, that's true. But,
They reused a lot of assets.
yeah. Well,
They didn't
anyway, the
have to
point
make a whole
is
lot.
that they're bringing back the premium
Story mode.
currency to everyone's chagrin.
They say they'll roll it out when they feel it's right.
Yeah. Well,
When
here's
they
the
feel
thing.
the time is right.
I mean,
Hopefully they
everyone
never-
called it, right? I know I did. On this
Oh, yeah.
podcast, in fact. I was like,
Well,
they're going to bring that
never
back.
Said they never said it was gone for good.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They just said we've removed them from the game for the time being.
Well, and-
Everyone knew it was coming back. We just didn't know when. We
Right.
didn't realize it would be so soon.
Yeah.
They didn't give a date. They just said in the next few months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it just makes me laugh though, because I mean that was like the reason that everyone was so up in arms about the game to begin with, and they're like, "Well, we didn't make as much as we wanted because everyone was up in arms, so they didn't buy it as much. So we're just gonna go ahead and put it back in because at this point it doesn't really feel like it's going to
At
matter."
this point, we're only going to make money off it.
Oh,
Turning that switch
dear.
back on isn't going to cost us money. People have already bought the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
We probably aren't selling any more copies as it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I've gotten off of that train. I played some, and then I was honestly I just didn't like. It was all right. It's all right as a game, but I wasn't like super into it. So I was kind of like,
I'm not super into Battlefield, so I know it's not my cup of tea because it's just Star Wars Battlefield.
No, it's Battlefront.
they didn't even.
Yeah, but it's Battlefield. It's
No,
the
I'm
Battlefield
making a joke.
engine. No, I get it.
That's the thing too. Like you literally have a game series that you made EA called Battlefield, and then you just went ahead and called this one Battlefront. And I get that
Well, it
there was
already
original
called
games.
Battlefront,
I
but
know
yeah.
it was already called Battlefront, but still, I'm just like, maybe be less confusing.
They got to feed on the nostalgia, though.
I guess. Whatever.
And then they still just came out and called this one Battlefront 2. So if you want to play a much better Battlefront 2, you can get it on Steam for like $6.
Mhm.
The original Battlefront 2.
The original Battlefront 2, which is a great game. We should play that together sometime.
You've become.
We should play that. It has online multiplayer. We should play
It
that
does.
together sometime.
We should.
All right. So what do you guys
Star
want to
Wars
talk about
December this month. We'll play
Star Wars
Battlefront
December.
2.
And dramatic reading of the early draft script of Revenge of the Sith.
Please.
Yeah.
And also the
Someone
Shakespeare
else
Star
pick a
Wars series
topic.
because it's great.
I'm gonna go fix my lighting. Someone else pick a topic.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's talk about this. Mario movie from the makers of Despicable Me.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
everyone knows the original was just perfection.
What, the original Mario movie? The original Super Mario Brothers movie?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that wasn't terrible at
Yeah.
all.
No, absolutely not.
The New York accents, the fact that Toad was like a back alley druggie,
Yeah.
the
and
fact
Bob
that the
Hoskins
Bob-omb was
drunk
wearing
throughout the
Reeboks.
entire-
And John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
Wait, that was
Bob
John
Hoskins
Leguizamo,
was
right?
drunk
I'm not
throughout the
crazy.
whole film. No, it was John Leguizamo.
He was Luigi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Daisy was
Sid
somehow
the
the
Sloth.
princess of the Mushroom Kingdom instead of
Sid the
Peach.
Sloth was Luigi.
The young John Leguizamo.
A
Yoshi
young-
was like
And they're-
an
and they're supposed to be
unrecognizable
brothers.
raptor child.
They're supposed to be brothers. That's the best part.
Yeah.
The whole
Bob Hoskins
premise
and a
of it
young-
was that everyone in the kingdom had literally evolved from fungus.
No, they were reptiles.
Yeah.
No, because that's how you got the Goombas, remember? He
No, the
de-evolved
Goombas
right.
weren't
the
fungus.
Goombas.
The Goombas were tiny lizard head, like really big dudes with tiny lizard head.
No, the Koopas were big dudes with tiny lizard heads. No, because the
All right. So what I'm hearing from this is a rewatch.
look, it's not because remember he de-evolved the king into fungus. That was the premise of the movie. Was that all the fungus that was all over the kingdom was the king? He like de-evolved him into literal fungus. Look, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the
It doesn't
premise was.
matter.
It was a terrible movie either way. It's not really
anyways.
worth arguing about. But they're making
But
another
the
one.
Well,
Studio
no. They're not making another one. Let's be
The-
incredibly
yeah.
clear here.
The studio that created the and I hate to say it, but the hit franchise of Despicable Me and the Minions is
They
going
weren't
to
bad.
take a stab at Mario. Like
Those
I
were
know
decent-
Minions,
Those were decent movies. Those
they were
solid
decent movies. You know, some parents might now hate Minions for all time because
I mean,
Minions.
I know.
Well, yeah, they drove it
I'm not
into
a
the
parent,
ground, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sick of Minions, but
But
they were decent movies.
so hopefully
The
they'll
third
do
one was
something
a little
good with
tired.
it.
Yeah, but I mean that's any third installment to like an animated series.
it's true. It really is. Well,
Think
any
of
series
any
really.
other
By the time you
third-
get to the third movie, like everyone just seems tired.
Shrek
like
the Third.
Yeah.
Shrek the Third.
like Shrek the Third,
That
everyone was
the
just
start
like,
of
I'm
that-
so
that was the real start
exhausted.
of that downhill slope.
I thought
Or-
Shrek the Third was pretty good.
It was like
Um,
here's the thing: we had Shrek,
Shrek the Third was good.
Shrek 2, Shrek the
Shrek
Third,
the Third. Shrek Forever After.
Shrek Forever After.
Look, let's just say that it tanked, all right. Or even
And then
like
there's a
if you
rumor that there's
watch-
going to be a fifth Shrek.
I'd still watch it. I'll still watch it.
Let's go off on a side tangent here. Let's look at third movies and installments. The third Jurassic Park movie, where
I
where
don't see why
Doctor
people hate that
where
one.
Dr. Allen. No, it's not that people hate it, but
Okay.
Dr. Allen was fed up at that point. Like you could tell everything about him. He's just like,
Dr.
I'm back on
Grant.
I'm just on a
But that's
fucking
that was the
island with
best
dinosaurs.
part.
I'm
That
done.
was the best part. It's just him going through like, I
I'm
don't want to
done
go
with it.
through this again. Why am I here?
Or like the third Aliens movie where they're just like, what the hell? Why are we still dealing with aliens?
I've got all the Aliens movies mixed up. They're just one long film in my mind. I don't remember which one's which.
Or the third Mummy movie where everyone's just like, we have to deal with another freaking mummy.
Okay, No, the third Mummy movie doesn't even count because that's just a bad movie altogether. That movie should not have even been made.
Count.
What about the Scorpion King though?
Scorpion King.
Yeah,
I
the
would
third
consider
Scorpion
the third
King
Mummy
movie was terrible.
No, I'm not talking about the third Scorpion King. I'm talking about Scorpion King. It could be considered a third Mummy movie before Tomb of the Dragon Emperor.
It wasn't terrible. It was. You know what I didn't like about the Scorpion King? The entire
weird
thing
CG
was
rock.
in Egyptian, and so it was all in subtitles.
Yeah.
That was weird.
That was annoying.
That was a weird choice.
You're
And
not,
CG,
let me put it
CG
this
Rock
way.
wasn't in Scorpion King. He
the-
was CG Rock in Mummy 2, Mummy Returns.
The Scorpion
Was?
King was not
Yeah.
nearly as artistic enough to pull off the Pan's Labyrinth trick of having the entire movie in subtitles. That's what I have to say to that.
Bad CG Rock is still the best.
Okay,
worst thing.
we want to talk about bad sequels for a second, or what could be a bad sequel. I just read yesterday that Mel Gibson announced that he's going to do a sequel to The Passion of the Christ.
Oh, yeah, you know. The part where he
He's
comes
gonna-
back and destroys
Yeah.
all of the people who hung him.
What?
Do you remember
And
that?
Jim Caviezel
Okay,
is
hold
going
on.
to be
Wait,
back on
hold on.
board.
Do you guys remember the Family Guy bit that is The Passion of the Christ 2?
Yes.
Where he
I
like
do.
comes back as it's like a buddy cop movie and he just like takes everyone out and it's just like Passion of the Christ 2 like reloaded.
Yeah.
Reloaded. What? I don't.
Oh my god.
Please don't. Please
No.
don't.
But
Please make
supposedly
that
the
movie.
plot line
With Chris
plot
Tucker.
line is supposedly the plot line is just going to focus on like the resurrection and the apostles and possibly the metaphysical
I mean,
point of
that,
it all.
I would hope that if there's a sequel, that's what it focuses. Not Reloaded with Chris Tucker.
Okay. But yeah, no.
Have you ever
he's
held one of
legitimately
these?
gonna do
Have
it.
you ever held one of these?
Okay.
I'm
But yeah,
sorry.
no, he's legit gonna do it. He's legit gonna do it.
No, you know what I want to see? You know what movie I want to see? I want to see a sequel to The Fifth Element that focuses
Sixth
entirely
Element?
on Chris Tucker's character.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. That I
The
would
worst
watch.
part of that movie.
Chris Tucker's the worst part of that movie. He's the only thing that makes that movie watchable for me.
No.
Yes. Look,
No!
I will maintain forever that Chris Tucker is the prototype of every streamer and YouTuber today.
I'll agree
The
with
guy
that.
who broadcasts his every
Ruby
move in
Rod.
life in a ridiculous voice and wearing ridiculous clothing to everyone in the galaxy.
Like
that.
I realize that. I realize that, and that's funny. It was not a good part of the movie though. Like if
Hey,
he
it
at
was
least
the
dropped
best part
the
of the movie.
voice, if he dropped the voice, it would have been better. I don't know how you can say that's the only redeemable quality of the.
I don't
I know
agree
we've
with
had this
that.
conversation like 12 times of how you hate the for no reason because it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
But the only part you like is Chris Tucker? You're the opposite of at least 50% of the people who like that movie. Most people who like that movie are like, yeah, but Chris Tucker was. And you're just like, no, it's the only part I liked.
That's because everyone sees themselves reflected in Chris Tucker and they don't like what they see in that
Everyone
mirror.
knows.
So,
Everyone.
so they're just like, no to
It's
that.
true. It's true. It's true.
Either
We all
that
know
or they
little
see
Chris
themselves
Tucker
reflected
fans.
in the terrible costume that Gary Oldman was wearing with the weird
You
plastic
mean
headpiece
the
and that.
fantastic, like weird plastic hat he wore on half his head.
How is he supposed to be a menacing villain? It looks like they went to like a dollar store and put the costume together out of pieces of things they bought. They're like, here's $5. Buy stuff and turn into a costume.
But you know what? You know what? It worked. I was saying Gary Oldman was still a good villain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he was
It was
Gary
talent.
Oldman.
I was gonna say, what if that was his whole thing? Is like, okay, I'll do the movie, but I need a ridiculous costume. I need to prove that I can be menacing and a good villain without a menacing costume. We're on it. Yes, sir.
Good job, Gary Oldman. Still
Gary
like you better as Commissioner Gordon and Sirius Black, but
Seriously,
I will give you this.
In
Or
any
even
movie, you
in the
can't
Spyro
recognize
games. Oh my God! In the Spyro reboot, Gary
yeah.
Oldman
The,
as
like, 2D
Ignitus
reboot.
was awesome. Gary Oldman was awesome in that game.
I'm really sad those didn't get more games.
Yeah.
I know, right? I like the third. Okay, let me tell you, the third game in that series. I can't remember what it was
There were
called right
3?
now.
I thought there were only 2.
No, because there was Spyro New Beginning, there was Spyro in the Eternal Night, and there was one more that I can't remember the title of right now. But I loved the third one because you could play as either Spyro or Cinder. They were like teenage dragons by that point, and you could free fly. The thing I have wanted in a Spyro game for years, and you could finally do it in the third installment of that game. Free fly anywhere you wanted.
Yeah, it was The Legend of Spyro. That was the trilogy. It was A New Beginning, The Eternal Night, and Dawn of the Dragon.
Dawn of the Dragon. And you could free fly, and I was so hyped for it. I was like, yes! I wanted this!
Okay, yeah, I do remember that.
I wanted this in my life.
Everyone is. And also on co-op?
Yeah, because you could play as
Dang.
Spyro or Cinder.
Yeah, that's cool.
And Cinder's, it was like Spyro had the electricity breath, the frost breath, the fire breath, and the earth breath. And then Cinder had like shadow and poison and like 2 others I can't think of. But it was like, you know,
Electricity.
yeah, because she was like she was reformed, but she also had like the twisted breath. But
Yeah, she had like the bad guy breaths that you'd expect.
Yeah.
yeah, but she wasn't a bad guy at that point. She had reformed by the time the second one.
Yeah, but she still had those like.
Shadow breath. Shadow breath was like the equivalent of.
She's the anti-hero.
Yeah, it was like I think her shadow breath was like the equivalent of Spyro's ice breath, maybe. I don't know. There was like an equivalency there. Like they had
Yeah,
similar
they-
effects, but anyway, this is all beside the point. So the people behind Despicable Me are making a Super Mario Brothers movie,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
that was the key. And Nintendo
Hopefully-
announced
Making-
this yesterday.
Hopefully we can see someone do the Mario.
Do the
yes! Do the Mario.
Oh,
Do
from
do
side
do.
to
Buddy,
side.
do 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 do
Side
do
to
do
side.
do.
Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario.
And also, if you don't know
got
what
it!
we're talking about whenever we sing that song, you need to go look up. Was it Captain Lou?
Do the Mario.
Captain
the
Lou,
Mario.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
Captain
just look
Lou,
up
Do the Mario.
You'll see it. You'll just find it if you find Do the Mario.
It's the best thing because there used to be an animated Mario series, and it was part of that, and it was great.
It's the Mario, bro. They had like a rap intro. It was so weird.
It was great.
I always forgot. You get hooked on the brothers. Du-du-du-du-du-du.
That
Hooked
also
on the
that
Brothers.
TV show was terrible. That TV show
was
was
terrible,
also a
but it-
terrible representation of the Mario
But it's
Brothers.
like, it was like a product of the era, so it was also like really good and nostalgic.
Yeah, it was like a terrible '80s cartoon, but still.
Yeah, I mean it's
That,
like in
that
the
was
same
like
book
the
as
Zelda
Adventures
cartoon
of
that they
Sonic
made in the
Hedgehog.
'80s. That was also terrible.
Literally every single episode of the Super Mario Brothers Super Show would end with an ad for the Legend of Zelda cartoon.
And the entire premise of the Legend of Zelda cartoon was that like Link was into Zelda, but she was totally like
Well,
not about it.
excuse me, princess. The best meme.
That was a thing. It was
That's
so
the-
great.
that was, like, his
Excuse me,
catchphrase.
princess.
Well, excuse me, princess. Between that and the Zelda CDI games, that was like the early days of memes on the internet.
It really was. God, those CDI
I'm
games
so
were terrible.
hungry, I could eat an Octorok.
I remember I watched the Game Grumps play the second CDI game, and I'm just like, that is borderline unplayable. And congratulations
it
to
is.
them for doing it.
It is. The cutscenes are the only redeeming quality. It's
Do you remember
so
for a while?
bad.
Do you remember for a while they were talking about doing
Bringing
a
back
Zelda
the
series on
Philips
Netflix?
CDI?
I don't think anything ever
I
came
think,
of that though.
I think that was a rumor. I don't even think that was true. I thought that was all just rumors being spread around by people who.
It may have been. I felt like I saw a thing
I
from
never-
Nintendo, but this is definitely true because Nintendo actually tweeted out from their official account yesterday that they were teaming with is it DreamWorks that makes Despicable Me?
Yeah, DreamWorks.
I think DreamWorks to
No.
make this movie.
No, it's
But,
Illumination.
Oh,
Yep.
Illumination. Yeah. To
Illumination,
to
sorry.
make the Super Mario Brothers.
The
movie.
other one.
Honestly-
what else did Illumination do? What else have they done?
Honestly, I do feel
Seuss-
good about
the
this.
Seuss cartoons.
You know what? You know what I would like to see from like a Mario movie? Do something like what they did with Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. Because I feel like Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door had a really good story to it. And it was like styled as kind of like that Japanese RPG kind of thing. You had like the team and you switched out characters and you had tons of worlds. And, you know, like it was really truly like a grand scope of an adventure. And I think that something like that would work very well for a movie. So hopefully they do something like that. And I think that'd be really cool. Or like,
Yeah, they've got a.
What
They've
is-
got a good track. They haven't really made too many bad movies.
yeah. What was
Their worst
the
movie.
What was the game where Mario and Luigi like traveled outside the Mushroom Kingdom?
Which one? They do that a lot.
It was just the two of them, and they were like, it was like
Mario and
Super
Luigi's
Brothers
Superstar
Adventure or
Saga?
something like that, and they made like
Superstar Saga.
yes, Superstar Saga, and they met
was
like
the
other
GameCube.
brothers from other kingdoms who like taught them how to do stuff. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. That's every Mario and Luigi game, though.
Okay, you say they haven't made any bad films. However,
I said they haven't made many. Hop was bad.
Hop
Hop?
was bad.
Was that the one about the Easter Bunny?
That was
Yeah.
all the Easter Bunny and Russell Brand was
Ugh.
the Easter
Yeah.
Bunny for some reason.
They and it wasn't a bad film per se, but it just got made bad because of memes. They have Dr. Seuss's Lorax. That's not what I'm aiming at. What I'm aiming at is their upcoming projects.
Like what?
Secret Life of Pets 2,
Okay.
Minions 2, and
Okay.
Sing 2. So now they're starting to do that sequel bait. And
Okay, but those
Despicable
were
Me
all-
4.
Those were all really good. Okay, Despicable Me probably could have ended at 3.
Yeah.
Or 2. Or 1.
And I think
But,
Minions,
I
they don't
mean,
really need a second
Sing-
one.
Yeah. But they're so popular, I can't blame them. I can't be
Yeah.
mad at them for doing something that's so blatantly like a good idea for them financially. Kids will swarm to see it. It's not like they made the Emoji Movie.
They're also doing a Grinch film that comes out.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
heard that they were
that could be
making a new
good.
Grinch movie.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily going to be bad.
And it's supposed to have Benedict Cumberbatch as the Grinch.
Oh my god,
I'm
that'd
down
be
with
great.
I'm down with that.
I hope they do face capture. That man is amazing with face
Just
capture.
full face capture on Benedict for the Grinch.
Yes,
Something tells me they probably won't do that.
but they should, and that's the
They
point.
should. They probably won't. I'm just saying though, like Sing and Secret Life of Pets, those were very popular movies.
I actually really like Sing.
So.
I know Joe doesn't because
It
he
has
doesn't think that Scarlett Johansson is a very good singer.
She's not, but I have nothing against the film for it. No, but what I'm saying is, Sing just had the unfortunate pleasure of coming out at like the same time as Zootopia,
That's true. Yeah.
which
Yeah.
really kind of screwed it in the long run.
Zootopia, a great movie. Spider-Man, great game.
Spider-Man, great game.
Speaking of
Uh,
Spider-Man,
Speaking of Spider-Man.
Yes.
Kevin Feige.
Oh, that's right.
Said
Feige.
something.
Or Feige. One of
Everyone
the
I've
CEOs.
ever heard talk about it say Feige.
All right,
Every
then
single
Feige.
person.
Anyway,
Alright.
the actual story
Anyways.
is
He has said on Twitter or in a Q&A or somewhere, I don't remember the source, but he said it. I definitely saw it. There are currently no plans for X-Men or the Fantastic Four in the MCU.
At this time.
that's not super
That's-
surprising.
Yeah,
They
but look at how far ahead they like. Here's something else that was brought up. We don't know anything that's coming out after next year.
yeah.
Like,
I think the only other movie that we know exists that's coming out is for certain is Captain Marvel.
but that's next year.
That's next year. And that's literally the end of it.
After that, we don't know.
Yeah.
The Inhumans was going to be a film, but then it kind of became a film and a TV series and wasn't good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the Runaways. Have you watched any of the Runaways?
I have
No.
It's really good. I can't remember what it's on. Is it on Amazon? Hulu? I don't remember. But it's based on like sort of a smaller side
think
story in the MCU universe. Or not the MCU universe, but the Marvel universe. About like a group of mutant kids and their parents are supervillains, but they don't want to be supervillains, so they run away and form their own superhero group and they like oppose their parents. It's really interesting.
That's kind of cool.
It's also very much teenage rebellion, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's a cool story.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was really it. Like he was just saying, like he was first of all he was given no heads up about the Fox merger, so like he knew nothing about it until we did.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
He
like,
just
he's
woke
like,
up one
I didn't-
day. We're
I didn't know
buying
what was
Fox.
going on.
What?
I didn't know what was going on. Like obviously the deal hasn't actually gone through yet.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
They're-
I'm,
he says they're not talking about it or planning for it until the deal goes through entirely.
Yeah.
that makes
But
sense.
this is also the same guy who was denying everything about Spider-Man until Civil War came out.
Right.
Yep.
Pretty
Fair.
much.
Uh,
So,
all right. I am going to rush down a couple topics here. Nintendo Switch Online will be releasing September 2018, so that's basically like Nintendo's version of PlayStation
Xbox
Now.
Live, PlayStation
So-
Plus.
Yeah.
Not PlayStation Now, PlayStation Plus.
Oh, plus.
Yeah.
There's a
So
difference.
anyway,
Xbox
it's going to be a
Live.
thing. Like you can play all the retro games you want and all that junk, but you have to pay like a monthly fee.
No.
Is
no.
the retro gaming
That's
thing not part of that?
I don't know about that. I know it's how you're going to be able to play the games online with people.
Well, because I know they have like a retro arcade where you can play like Ocarina, Majora's Mask, and all that other stuff, but it's part of like a service, and I thought that was supposed to be part of the Nintendo Switch Online service.
Let me look it up.
All right, well, while Joe's looking that up, also Red Dead Redemption 2 releases in October. Super hyped for that. Really hoping for a Red Dead Online because I just want to be a cowboy walking around online with other people.
Speaking real quickly of Rockstar Online interactions, MEK is doing a really awesome comic of our adventures in GTA 5.
Okay,
You should all check
loosely
it out.
based on our adventures in GTA.
Loosely
It's-
based on our
it's-
adventures in
It's
GTA.
its own comic that, with its own independent characters and its own
Yeah.
independent setting, but it's
Yes.
based on stuff we do in GTA 5.
She
Yeah.
tweets about it on Twitter and we retweet the pages. But yes, it's loosely
It's so
based
good,
on
you should
stuff
check it
that we
out.
do on GTA Online, and it is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. And then also something that Joe would like to talk about, but I'll let him talk about it as soon as he's done looking this up.
Give it a minute. Go to another discussion topic real quick.
Okay. Well, let's see what we have down there then. Oh, okay. So here's a question for you, which can probably tie into the whole discussion of Red Dead Redemption 2, which is it bad to make games more cinematic?
I would say, okay.
Because this is
Some
something like
games, yes. Other games, no. Like if you're making a game like the Telltale games, like I feel like the Telltale games are both good and bad. They don't have a very good shelf life. Like once you play it, you've played it, or
Right.
once you watch someone else play it on YouTube, then you don't need to buy it or play it on your own.
Okay.
I feel like game companies that do more I feel like game companies that have like more quick time events instead of like actual interaction in the game is again 50-50. I think it depends on the game, really. I really think it depends on the game.
Mhm.
Like in terms of graphics making it look more cinematic, that's great, but it depends on the game.
All right, we will swing
All
back
right,
around
real
to
quick.
this. Joe.
Real quick, swinging back to the Nintendo thing, you're right. They will have a compilation of classic titles you'll be able to play and play online with people, like Super Mario 3, Balloon Fight, Dr. Mario. It doesn't say Ocarina of Time. I don't think they'll do that. They'll make us buy it for the umpteenth time.
Okay,
They
my
know we
bad.
will.
But there are some retro
But yeah,
titles.
no, you were right. There were free retro games. There'll be deals. You'll get discounts on things, and it's only $20 a year.
Yeah, I
Like-
mean, it is pretty cheap. I'll give them that. But Dr.
that's- I
Mario,
don't-
because, everyone's clamoring to play Dr. Mario.
Exactly. But this is saying you won't be able to play online for free once it comes out.
Right.
So if you're like me and you love Splatoon and playing that online with people, you won't be able to once September comes and
Right.
it happens.
But if you pay us
Also,
$20 a
the
year, you can.
You can, yeah. Also, the phone app, which no one uses because it's kind of garbage.
Yeah, I have
But
it on my
hopefully we'll be
phone, and
given
I'm
some
just like,
more-
I don't know about any of this.
Well, you don't even have any online games yet, either, though.
You can. No, you're right. I don't.
You-
I don't know
Well,
how
mean,
I planned on
last I
defending
knew-
that statement.
Last
but
I knew, all you had was Breath of the Wild.
it's true, and it's still all I have, and
Get
I'm
that
going to get the
Mario
DLC for it
Kart.
because it's
Get that
super
Mario
duper
Kart.
hype. What are you saying to me?
I said, get that Mario Kart.
I do need to get Mario Kart. It's true. Okay,
But yeah, but that's the cinematic thing. I think, real quick, my opinions on it are the cinematic games are good.
Mhm.
They have a place. But yeah, it comes out like don't go overboard because the Order 1886 or whatever that game was, that was bad.
Well, what was that one recently? It came out and it was like, it's almost 2 hours of just cutscenes in the
I think
game.
it was
Final
1886.
Fantasy 15.
Okay.
No, that game had almost no cutscenes. It may have had 2 hours of cutscenes, but it had like 40 hours of gameplay in between.
I
Yeah.
want to say, was it Mass Effect Andromeda that had a ton of cutscenes in it?
I don't know. That game had so many other
Yes,
problems.
actually, I
I
think it did.
I don't even think that was on my
I
radar.
I just remember there was one where it's just like, there are literally like 2 or 3 hours worth of cutscenes. And it's just like, that's insane
was
to
it?
have in an open world game where like,
Metal Gear Solid 4 had like 4 hours of cutscenes, but that's
yeah.
Kojima. That's
Well, right,
Metal
and that's
Gear
how
Solid.
he tells the story. But
That's just-
what it also kind of goes with what Noah was saying about Telltale. Like, yeah, there are people out there who enjoy playing the Telltale games, and yes, I would say that Telltale has like a cinematic quality to it, but also you don't really do that much in those games. Well, here's
I'd
what
say- I'd say
I say that it has a cinematic quality.
I'd
only-
say it's more of like a storybook quality. Like it's
Okay,
not,
yeah, like a
it's-
comic
like
book kind of
cinematic.
quality.
I expect like panning camera angles and good graphics.
Right,
Maybe
right.
that's just me. But yeah, it's more like a storybook or a choose your own adventure novel.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess the thing is, I just feel like the more cinematic you make a game, it feels more like you're watching what's happening rather than playing the game. And so
Definitely need to strike a balance.
well, yeah, because at a certain point, it feels like it's defeating the purpose of even having it being a video game. Because the point of a video game is that it's an interactive medium. So if you get too deep into like the visuals and the cinematics, then you kind of lose like the important part of what it is to actually be a video game, which is having that interaction between the gamer and the story and what's happening. So the reason that I put this on the discussion list was because it links to another question that I saw when I was trolling on Reddit, which is would you rather play an older version of a game or a remaster?
Real quick, Noah, is there another topic you'd like to talk about?
Well, I mean, I really want to talk about the last two discussion topics that we had of like, have you ever played a game that ruined other games in a
Okay.
series for you, or older version of a game or remaster.
I just want to make
But,
sure.
I wanted to save those for future podcasts since I do have to head out.
Okay,
soon.
you want to have a deeper discussion on them in a
Yeah.
minute.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, we can table those for next week. That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, for now then, let's just move into what Joe, I'm sure, is dying to talk about, which is
Not really. Not really. What I was dying to talk about, we covered at the top. But Overwatch League, because I just can't get enough. It's so good. I love it. Last week, though, the three giants of Overwatch League, the great Korean teams who have graced the league, are no longer undefeated. They were defeated last week. The Boston Uprising took down the London Spitfire in a very impressive show of force.
now
The 1-3 Boston Uprising beat the 5-0 Spitfire.
now Boston
what it's all
Uprising is a mostly homegrown team, right? They mostly went for people like from the Boston area.
Yeah. No. They got the like second stringers, the like young players, people who had
Gotcha.
never really played on a professional stage before.
Gotcha.
These are a lot
okay.
of new people,
All right, that's what
like
they did was.
young players.
I guess
No
my
one-
question was, were the Korean teams brought down by teams that weren't also mostly Korean?
Well, yeah, Boston Uprising is
Yeah.
large, like American and European players.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they took down the London Spitfire, which was impressive because they were playing most of their strats mirrored. Like, it was mostly both teams were playing dive comps,
Mm-hmm.
like the exact same comp. Like it'd be like both teams were like Winston, Diva, Genji, Tracer, Mercy, Zenyatta.
Yeah.
Both teams, and Boston just did it better, which was really cool to see. Boston just outdo a team at their own thing. But at the same time, that's Boston's biggest weakness is they don't have much else after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who beat New York? Who was that? Philadelphia. beat
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia Fusion beat New York. Presumably because New York didn't know what they were gonna do. Because not even Philadelphia knew what they were.
Of course.
They hadn't practiced going into this stage this season at all. It's just impressive to see how well they're doing.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And then New York is actually the one who beat Seoul.
Gotcha.
But even that was impressive. And yeah, tonight Seoul plays London, so I'm looking forward to that game too.
Cool.
Yeah, Boston went into last week being 1-3, and they left the week at 3-3. So they're working their way up. If they do real good, they do real well in these last 2 weeks of the stage, they could make their way to the playoffs for the stage.
Woo.
Cool. Awesome. And that's what's going on with the Overwatch League.
However, the Shanghai
Bump.
Dragons still haven't won a game, so feels bad.
All right.
Shanghai.
Well, I think that's going to pretty much wrap it up since I know Noah has to leave here in a few minutes to get to a rehearsal.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I mean, we usually end around 5 o'clock-ish anyway, so it's all good.
I just thought we were gonna go on, just make it a 2-man podcast, go all night,
Keep it
podcast
rolling.
forever.
Nah,
Keep
man,
it
we got a
rolling.
D&D game to play, which actually brings me to something I want to talk about, which is how awesome the Horizon Walker class is. But we'll table that for another time. Get it? Table? Because tabletop games? Ha-ha!
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Jokes. Anyway, is there anything that you two want to share before we sign out for the eve? Joe, I know you have some exciting news.
Yes. I made a video, and I'm hoping to do more very soon. Released episode 37 of Let's Play World of Warcraft, The Hunt for Sulfraze, where we
Aw.
go on great adventures. We meet a druggy troll. It's great. Go check it
Did
out.
this druggy troll also maybe have like dreadlocks, colorful hat?
No, he did not. He did not.
Was he Rastafarian in any way? Did he listen to a lot of Bob Marley music? Did Bob Marley music start playing as you walked up to him?
No, but had I thought of that, I would have.
I'm making jokes about how ridiculously Jamaican all the trolls are in World of Warcraft
Yep.
for no particular
As
reason.
is my terrible troll impression you get to hear me do. It's great.
Oh, you
And
already
only,
did.
And only mostly offensive. Well, that was a Vol'jin impression. That's separate. This is way worse.
Anyway,
Wait.
Noah, is there anything that you would like to share from the Something for Every Nerd channel?
Spyro the Dragon, Kingdom Hearts, Dive into the Hearts podcast. I have issues, and let's talk. That's about it for now.
Cool.
Oh, and random skits.
Good. As for me, I will be back again streaming tomorrow from 3 to 5. We'll be playing some sort of multiplayer game. Perhaps Overwatch, perhaps something else. We'll see how it goes, but something multiplayer. And I'll try to drag
sad.
friends into it. What?
I'm sad you do your multiplayer streams on Fridays.
Because you're working on Fridays?
Because I work every single Friday and will never...
What about Saturdays then? Would you like to play multiplayer games on Saturday?
Yeah, we can do some multiplayer.
Saturday's the wild card day.
Yeah, well,
We can play
I
together.
can be down Saturday.
Anyway, yeah. So I'll be streaming 3 to 5 Friday, 3 to 5 Saturday, and then Hanging with Janky will come out on Sunday. Hopefully, this is my weekend to work, so hopefully I can get all of that done and still get Hanging with Janky edited. But if not, it will come out on Monday, so that's all good. Anyway, I think that
Yeah.
pretty much wraps it up for the podcast this week. Joe, you are looking serious and possibly dead right now. I'm concerned.
Spaced out a little bit. Too busy thinking about High Mountain Torn and Nightborn.
You're deadpanning into the camera. Anyway. Yeah, so that's been Joe. That's been Porg Noah. That
Yep.
has been Scritches the Kitten. And I
Scritches.
have been Janky Shenanigans. Thank you for tuning in to the Pop Culture Podcast. Hope to see you all next week, same time, 3:30 to 5 Eastern PM. All that good stuff. But until next time, we're signing out.
Noah literally signed out as we signed out.
What?
Noah signed off as we signed off.
Oh, that's perfect timing then.